I was going up the stairs, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. I wish you'd go away.
Hello, welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to talk about Identity 2003. This film includes John Cusack, Ray Liotta, Amanda Peet, and Pruitt Taylor Vince. Short summary, very rainy night in Nevada. A group of people are stuck in a motel where they all find a common ground as they are killed off one by one in gruesome ways.
Well, it's a whodunit. You know,
Right.
The whole movie you're trying to find out who done it.
Process by elimination as the bodies proceed to, multiply. Yeah. I really enjoy John Cusack's performance in this.
Yeah.
Amanda Peet, Ray Liotta's in this. He's so good. Beyond that, I find this movie to be a little slower than I remember.
It is a little slow, but I think the reason behind it is to set the stage that you're thinking, like, what they're trying to do is make you think that this Malcolm guy, at first they're like, oh, you can't, they don't know where his transport is for this last minute meeting, court date, the 24 hours before he's going to be executed. And you kind of assume that he broke out and he's gone to this hotel and he's killing these people off. Right. So you kind of think that's happening. But then as the movie goes on, you find out that it's not happening at the same time. The cat is let out of the bag a little bit prematurely before the end. But there's reason behind that is because of Malcolm's mental state, what they're trying to convey, and that they're forcing all of his personalities to confront one another so that they can eliminate each one to find out which personality in Malcolm is the person that committed real life murders, not these murders at this motel, which is all in his head. And I think some of the performances are really great. Jake Busey in it, like he doesn't say much, but his demeanor, he's got that badass criminal vibe to him, and he's like, hey, and he's like, I got a secret. I got a whopper of a secret to myself, and you kind of, obviously they assume he's the one who's killing everyone because he breaks free and he gets out. But when he dies, then they all start kind of turning on this other guy and locking him up, and then finding out, oh no, the keys are numbering down from 10 downward, but they go from 8 to 6, and they're like, well, what about 7? And they find out the guy who got hit by the truck has a key 7 on him. So they're like, but how could someone make that happen? It was an accident. So that's when they start realizing there's some kind of connection here, and they all realize they have the same birthday, which then John Cusack's character snaps out of the motel reality and is in Malcolm's body at the court meeting. And that's when they're all in Malcolm's head. To get to the end of the movie, John Cusack goes back to the motel area in their head and makes sure that Amanda Peet's character is the last man standing, or at least so he thinks. Spoiler alert, big twist. The little kid didn't die in the explosion. He is the one who's been killing everybody. So he is the murderous rage inside of Malcolm that killed these real people in this other hotel 4 years prior, why he is on death row.
That bastard just reminded me of, what a child of the corn,
Corn style, yeah.
Devil, Damien,
And that last line, he's slamming that hoe, or that pickaxe hoe thingy in his hand, and then he's like, hordes don't get a second chance. And then, he just takes out Amanda Peet's personality in his mind, leaving him being the only one to take control of Malcolm's body because he's the only one left.
A fun fact for you.
The killer, the kid, can actually be spotted in Caroline's motel room. Now, she's the first one to die. She gets her head cut off and her head gets put in the dryer. You can see him in the window while she's standing at the mirror. You can see there's the drape, and then behind it you can see a silhouette, and you can tell it's him. If you don't notice it the first time around, you might notice it the second time around. All the names of all the characters are all places, Paris, whether it be their first name, their last name, or their whole name. All of them are names of places. That's why those names are those, because they're just basically looked at a map and came up with all these names for the personalities. References from the novel / film, which is titled and then there were none, also known as 10 Little Indians, which is the movie that Ginny's character is actually mentioning to them. She says in it, do you remember that movie where all these people went to an island and they all started dying off one by one, but they were all connected in some way? Is kind of what this movie is based on, and they reference it in the movie, which I thought was kind of interesting. Since the movie is a massive rainstorm the entire movie, and on set they were mostly in a studio, and pouring all that rain was actually cold water. They didn't use warm water, which hats off to the actors for not shivering or making it appear that they're freezing cold. But a lot of them caught the common cold or, got sick while filming and had to pretend like they weren't. So, I mean, that's just people getting good at their characters. Amanda Peet's character is looking in the cop's car and she finds the files on the criminals, finding out that Ray Liotta's character is actually a criminal as well. The cons, we just call them the cons. They had the same the amount of 2s, 1s, 7s, and 3s, and they each have an 8 and a 9 in their ID numbers. They're just all in different orders. But the exact same numbers, the same amount of numbers, something that you would have to pause and
really
zoom in.
Study.
Right?
That's cool.
But it's interesting that they went to that depth of detail.
Right.
For people to, and I mean, when this movie came out, people weren't reviewing movies like this and detailing things like that as much. Yeah. The motel owner that they find in the freezer, who was supposedly dead already when Larry arrived at the hotel, because he was the first one to arrive, because he's pretending to be the manager, was actually one of the producers of the movie who played that role of him falling out of the freezer. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And in the original draft for this movie, there was obviously another character in Malcolm's mind, and it was an Australian female teacher. And she was going to be the killer at the beginning of this first draft. But they thought that parents wouldn't like a teacher, someone in that position, to be the murderer. So they scrapped that idea and went with the kid, which I don't think is much, is that any better? Having a child be the killer? I don't know.
That's a little more sinister, I would think, Right?
So I don't know, but would the movie have felt the same way with it being one of the adults? The kid, you quickly, you always just push aside. Oh, the kid be the kid,
Yeah. I like that twist about it.
Some of the scenes in this are pretty brutal. I mean, you got the bloody head in the dryer. That's pretty, that's pretty horrific. But then the baseball bat down Jake Busey's neck, I think was
very
the most disturbing scene.
Yeah, that was a lot.
But he's in a lot of great stuff, and his eye twitching near the end of the movie is just, I don't know how he does it, but because I tried doing it and I'm like, I can't do that. It's very unsettling, but you kind of really get the feeling that he's struggling in his mind with these personalities jumping back and forth. Really crazy, I think. And to come to my last thing here, at the end of the movie, Rhodes, which is Ray Liotta's character, says, and you can see him mouth it, but very faintly, because they cut out the sound of these lines in the movie because they didn't want to give away the ending, even though it's close to the ending anyway. But he says to Ed, which is John Cusack's character, who said, "I didn't do this," and Ed replies, "I know." If they kept that in, it wouldn't have made sense, because why would he be killing Ray Liotta's character and letting himself die knowing if he didn't do it, then that means the killer's still out. So I think that's another reason why they cut those lines out, because it just doesn't make sense.
I mean, I personally, I completely agree with you. I didn't have many notes on this film because I'm not a huge fan. But I did I like Amanda Peet. I think she's so adorable. I just love her in so many things. I just love her cute little face. So she's always a joy to see, you know.
Yeah.
I enjoy John Cusack, so he's enjoyable. Ray Liotta, good Lord. Like, losing him was crap because he was such a good actor, but he lost to me. But the other note that I had made was the rapid eye movements of Malcolm, and I think a lot of people pick up on that. I mean, other than that, I honestly, I don't really care for this movie. It's not something that I personally enjoy on a scale of 1 to 5. Honestly, I mean, the actors really save it for me. But I'm going to give it like a 2.5.
2.5, wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 3.5 because it doesn't really have a lot of rewatchableness to it. When you already know the ending, you already know where it's going. It's not as shocking or enjoyable, but the first time round, it can be a lot of fun to find that ending out. But like that twist.
I think killing off about 10 people, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it was just kind of, I get, you know, they had a purpose, and I just felt like it was kind of too much, and it just kind of dragged on. It's like, all right, you know, even in slasher movies, they either kill them 5 at a time, they blow them up, or, you know, there's like, you know, at least 3, and then, the killer's revealed or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Like it just kind of dragged out a little bit, and it was a little dull for me.
Yeah.
But I would have given it a 2. If it was other actors I didn't like, I probably would have just given it like a 1 or a 2. But I like the actors in it, so it's 2.5 for me.
All right. That's fair. I agree. Like I said, I only give it a 3.5 because I really enjoyed it. And yes, the acting, the actors and their portrayals of the characters, I thought was great.
Yeah.
And it makes you think that there's a happy ending, and then that quick twist at the end, giving it not the happy ending, I thought was really great. But again, like I said, doesn't have much rewatchableness to it. I mean, I've watched it a few times, but it lacks its suspensefulness when you already know what's going to happen.
Right. Okay, so next week we're going to do something a little lighter, a little funnier. 1994, Dennis Leary, The Ref. This is one of John's personal favorites, right, John?
Yeah.
Or is it just?
I love this movie.
You love this one. I personally have never seen it. I have, I know of it. I just don't know the whole thing about it. But he swears it's amazing. So, and I like Dennis Leary. So why not?
Right.
I'm sure it'll be at least very funny, right?
It'll be very entertaining. That's for sure.
Okay. Well, I trust you. Okay, everybody, please like, comment, subscribe.
Hit the notification bell so you're always aware of when our episodes are going to be coming out every Monday morning.
Hey, 10 a.m.
We'll make your Monday morning that much better.
Yes, your Mondays are going to be so much better with us in your corner telling you which movies are yay or nay, and this is why.
Until next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye.